Hey guys, welcome. So for today for our warm-up, we're going to review symmetry. You will need the file that is on this page that is from your math journal. You will need to open that up into Notability, and you will be going back and forth between the video and your Notability activity. I will ask you to pause this video, go to your Notability activity, do some tasks, come back, and so on. Okay, so we're going to review symmetry real quick here. So looking at this picture, symmetry is having one side that exactly mirrors the other. So if you're looking at this butterfly, we can cut the butterfly down the middle, and that is the line of symmetry. We could also fold that butterfly on that line of symmetry, and the two sides would match up and be congruent to each other, which means congruent is same size, same shape. So that is the definition of symmetry. And moving on, a line of symmetry divides a symmetrical shape in half. You can notice the kite example, the blue shape has exactly one line of symmetry. Our hexagon has several lines of symmetry. And then our triangle here has just one line of symmetry because it is not an equilateral triangle. It is an isosceles triangle. And then the same thing with our letters down here in the word shape. An object may have more than one line of symmetry, or sometimes they have none. So the S has no lines of symmetry. We could not cut that shape in half and it fold on top of itself. The H, we could fold it either horizontally through the center or vertically through the center. The A has one line, P has no line, and E has one line horizontally. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our math journal page. So if you have your workbook, you are welcome to do this in your workbook. Most of you did not take it home. This is page 184 in your workbook. And we're just going to do this together. Again, I will ask you to pause, and you will come back to this after you do the activity that I asked you to do, and so forth. So we're going to get started here with me looking at some of these examples with you. So we're going to look at 1 through 4 first. 1 through 4, each picture shows one half of a letter. The dashed line is the line of symmetry. First, you're going to guess what the letter is, and then we're going to draw the other half of the letter. So we're going to do these first couple together, and then you'll pause it and do the last couple by yourself, and we'll check them. So I'm going to zoom in here. So number 1, we have the letter here. Let me get my tools ready. Okay, so we have the letter, and first we have to guess what shape it is. So just by looking at half of it, I'm thinking I know what shape it is, or letter it is. Do you know what letter it is? My guess is an M, so let's see. So for my line of symmetry, I need to just follow the exact pattern that it has on the left side, on the right side. So I'm going to start where it ended, right here in the center dot on the line of symmetry, and I noticed that it went from there, it went up to the top left dot. So here I'm going to go up to the top right dot. My line's kind of thick. I'll fix that here in a minute. And then on the left side, from that top dot, it went straight down that row. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So we were correct. It was a capital M. Okay, let's look at number 2. So number 2, I notice that both of my lines meet at the same point. So on the bottom, I want both of my lines to meet at the same point. So we're going to look at how it met. So this one went from this dot straight up, and then this dot diagonal to the right. So for the bottom half, I'm going to go from that same dot straight down and diagonal to the right. So that was a letter K. We forgot to guess on that one, but that's okay. So what I want you to do is now I want you to pause the video and I want you to do numbers 3 and 4 on your own. Once you've done that, come back to the video. Okay, pause now, 3 and 4, and then come back to the video. Okay, you should have paused and came back now. So we're going to look at what shapes we have here, what letters we have. So for number 3, I'm going to start at that top dot, and I noticed that on the left side of the shape it went from that top center dot diagonal all the way to the bottom left dot, and it didn't cross through anything. So on the right side I want to go from the top middle dot to the bottom right dot, not crossing through anything. So that's not a good view here. Let's choose a different one. A marker. Okay. So like so. And then from that center dot, it just went and it connected that center dot to the line that I just drew, if I can get it to do that. So you should have created a capital A. Okay, moving over. This one, you should have created a W. Okay, let's move on. So now we're going to look at the bottom problems here. Let me get this page adjusted. Okay, and the directions for this is draw the other half of each symmetric shape below. So we're going to do 5 and 7 together, and then you're going to pause and you're going to do 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9 on your own. And we'll talk about 9 before we pause here. So we're going to go to our writing utensil. I am in Explain Everything, so when you're doing this in Notability, it's going to look just a little bit different here. So I'm going to zoom in to problem number 5 and 7, so I can get both of them on one. Okay, so here we go. So on 5, I noticed that now the shape is on the right side, so we're going to draw on the left side. And I noticed that if I start at the top, I'm going diagonal down to that center dot on the outside, and I pass through 1. So I'm going to go on the right side, diagonal down, passing through that 1 dot and ending at the center dot on the left side. And then starting at the bottom, I'm going diagonal right, passing through 1 dot and ending at the center dot on the left side, since it ends at the center dot on the right side. So like so. And then number 7, this one's a little bit more complex. So I'm going to start at the top here, and I notice that at the top it goes horizontally to the right 1. So I'm going to go horizontally to the left 1. And then it goes diagonal to the right down 1 row. So I'm going to go, or to the left down 1 row, and now I'm going to go diagonal to the right 1 row. And then tracing the shape that's given, I notice that it goes diagonally down to the right, not crossing through anything, but going to the outside row this time. So I'm going to go diagonally to the left, not crossing through anything, but to the outside row. And then on the right side, it goes again diagonally down, this time to the left, back to the center, not crossing through anything. So this one is going to go diagonally to the right, to the center row, not crossing through anything. and then it goes diagonally to the right, down one row to the center. So I'm going to go diagonally to the left, down one row to the center, and then it goes back to our line of symmetry to the center and straight horizontally over to the right to the line of symmetry. So there is that shape line of, or the other half of that shape with that line of symmetry. So what you're going to do now is you are going to pause the video. You're going to do the two we just did together, 5 and 7. You're going to do 6 and 8. And then I want you to do number 9. And that has two lines of symmetry. And I want you to be very careful. They kind of try to trick you with this last row right here. Pay attention to that. So you're going to create the shape based off of two lines of symmetry here. It's not going to be a lot more difficult. You're just going to have to think about both lines of symmetry instead of just one. Okay, so go ahead and do 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Pause the video, do those problems, and then come back. Okay, welcome back. So now let's check your work here. So for number 6, you should have gotten the shape that looks like this, which is a rectangle. Number 8 was a little bit more complex. It actually has 3 shapes in one. So our outer shape is just like this, which is a square. Then we have our first inner shape is like this, and then as so. So that is the shape you should have for number 8. Let's look at number 9. So number 9, we had more than one line of symmetry, so I'm going to start at this dot right here. I'm going to go towards the left diagonally to that second row from the right of the line of symmetry. And then I notice that's how that was that. And then I notice that it goes up to that very top center line. So I'm going to go down diagonally to that very top center line. Okay, and then starting where I just ended at that bottom center point, I'm going to go diagonally, so like right here, diagonally up, not crossing through any point, but I should end on the same row. And then I'm going to go, I noticed, remember I told you to be careful about that last row. So we have to count how many over this point right here is. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 from counting the center one, 4, 3 over from the center one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3 over from the center one. So I'm going to end on that last dot I just put. So that last row of lines isn't good for anything. And then I'm going to go back up like so, and then I'm going to connect it. So that is the shape you should have for number 9. Now let's look at number 10 together. Number 10 says, the finished figure in problem 9 has 2 more lines of symmetries. Can you draw them? So we're already given 2 lines of symmetry. Let me change my colors here so we can see this. We're already given 2 lines of symmetry here. Where would 2 more lines of symmetry be? So I noticed how this shape goes in right here, right? So I think that those might be lines of symmetry. Here and here. There would be 2 more. So what you need to do is you need to pause this video. You're actually not going to come back to it. Finish up that page and then move on to the next part of the module. There, you are not turning this in to Canvas. We're just doing this together. So stop the video, finish up the page, and then move to the next part of the module. Thanks, guys.